one. Grant Johnston, tell us about your gallery.
Well, we're having an opening Friday the 21st, 7 o'clock. It's going to be a gallery that's mainly focused at the local artists, people who might not usually get the opportunity to show in a gallery. So the first show consists of myself and 6 of my friends. We've got 2 photographers, 2 painter, graphic illustrators, 2 and 3 sculptors, including myself. So
Excellent.
should be a good mix of mediums. And we've been in the works here for about 6 months, and we've been really turning it up in the past few weeks. I've had a lot of great volunteer help to make this all happen. Get a little show going here, try and get some money coming back in to put into the gallery and look toward the next show.
Tell us about this space.
Well, the space used to be for a long time Color Detroit. They did film processing here. And then along came the digital camera, and they kind of went by the wayside. So it changed hands a couple different times, and then it was a promotions company that did screen printing and whatnot here. And then they left about 4 years ago, and the building sat vacant and unkept, and there was a lot of burst pipes and mold and mildew, and so I spent 6 months gutting the entire space and getting back to a clean slate and kind of arranging it how I want to see it for my studio and fabrication endeavor, and then having a nice space to show art.
So what attracted you to this space in particular?
I guess the price and the size. You know, it's a big building. It's approaching 10,000 square feet. So myself and my friends can do a lot of different projects at once and just have a great time, you know, building stuff together. And I really hope this shop brings people together to foster creativity and work on projects that we might not normally be able to do because of either A, limited space or limited resources. And I don't know, kind of like a boys club, but girls are allowed.
Would you consider this sort of a hybrid art gallery / hackerspace?
Please define hackerspace.
I3 Detroit comes to mind.
As far as a community, like a group effort type of situation, or like a grassroots sort of, you know, it's not going to be open to the general public. It won't be any memberships like some of those spaces. This will be just myself and my close friends, and so it won't be open to the public as, you know, some of these other co-op style shops are.
So personally, tell us a little bit about your history and how you came to be in this space.
Well, let's see. I grew up in the shop with my 3 older brothers, and my dad was a mechanical engineer building a variety of things, mostly bicycles, and taking apart a lot of things to learn how they worked and how they were put together. So that's, I think, where I kind of got my feet wet in the creativity / engineering side of things. And then, you know, I spent a few years after high school in and out of college trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. And my brother Chris proposed the idea of opening a brewery, which sounded great to me. I went to brewing school in Chicago and then out to St. Paul, Minnesota, and after that came back to Ferndale and opened the lab, Liver Dam Brewers, in May of '97, so over 16 years ago. And in the meantime, I dabbled in the creative side of things, in my arts and fabricating, and really decided to take it full steam ahead about a year ago and purchase this building, and with the dream of having a huge space to work in and an art gallery to display not only my work but work with my friends. And I hung up the bar business and decided to take this gamble.
Can you tell us about some of the other artists that you've got slated for the opening weekend?
For sure. As far as, let's say, sculptors go, both three-dimensional and two-dimensional sculptors. Three-dimensional. A good friend, Emagination, she does a lot of stuff with canvas and plaster. A friend of mine, Jim Ward, he does a lot of metal work with reclaimed and found objects. We have two illustrators, graphic artists, one being Brian Stewart, who does a lot of, I would say, he's better at explaining it than myself. And I never like to use any particular terminology, so I don't pigeonhole somebody or make them mischaracterize the work that they do. So I'll just say he does a lot of really cool illustrations and paintings, and he's a very talented guy. Gus Walgren, he does a lot of work on plywood with spray paint and Sharpies, and they look really cool. And then there's myself, who does mostly metal work, but ironically, two of my pieces are going to be mainly woodworking in the show here. Then as far as the photography, my best friend Daryl Taunt, who lives out in New York, will be coming in for the show. And then JoJo, who's one of the local crew, who was actually one of the first guys I thought of outside of Daryl for the show. Because he's talented and really nice guy, and it's just nice to give people like that an opportunity to show.
What are your hopes for the future of this place 5 years down the road?
I'd like to see it stockpiled with a lot of fun tools. The gallery space isn't meant to buy me a new car or buy me a bigger house. In fact, I'm thinking about selling my house and moving in here at some point. The gallery space hopefully will break even. That's first and foremost. Anything that it generates above and beyond that will go right back into the place. And in the immediate future, back into the gallery. But ultimately, in 5 years, I would love to see some of my machining capabilities greatly increased with more CNC capabilities and more hydraulic-driven equipment, so I can work with, I should say, thicker gauge materials and stainless, and because that's usually the hitching point, is that you just don't have the equipment to do what you want to do, and you have to outsource a lot of it, and that can put the brakes on a project right there. So.
And lastly, most importantly, why should people come attend your art gallery opening this weekend or next weekend?
Well, I think people should come because they want to support the arts, and supporting the arts doesn't necessarily mean purchasing art. It just means showing up to be a part of it and see the art and talk about the art and spread the word about the art to their friends. And it's no purchase necessary. So there's no reason they should come out to spend anything. It's just I'm doing this venture because I want to have a good time. I want to have my friends, partake in all this, and I want to make new friends through it as well. So I just want everybody to come out and have a good time, and it just happens to be based around art.
Excellent. Thanks for your time, Grant.
My pleasure. Thank you. And look forward to having you out there. Here.